Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and this is a video that I think I should do just for the sake of being transparent, being honest, letting my subscribers and other people know what I'm doing, and to avoid any confusion. Now, last night, after I did some cardio, I did 45 minutes of list cardio while playing Titanfall. I took a nice hot bath, and when I'm training hard, I like to take really scalding hot baths. I got out of the bath, I noticed it looked pretty decent. I looked leaner. I could see a difference in my cut this week. So I dried off, came in, set up the camera, took a quick snapshot of me just doing a most muscular, and I threw it up on the fan page. Well, a lot of people were kind of shocked. They didn't realize that I was actually getting leaner relatively quick. And I'll post the picture here. And it's also what people are discussing it on the fan page. But the thing is, I think stuff that people don't always realize is that, one, guys, I'm not a natural lifter. Even in that photo there, and what I weigh this morning, I'm 5'9", 237 pounds. I'm cutting down to about 215 so that I can lean bulk into nationals. So I'll drop over another 20 pounds of fat. But you need to realize that when you're dealing with enhanced lifters, we're not always as fat or as lean as people think we are. My body fat for the last couple of months has actually been a hell of a lot lower than most people think it is, and I don't say anything because if I say something, people just go, oh, you're making excuses, blah, blah, blah. Guys, you know I blast wet. I don't use dry compounds. I don't use Tren. I don't use Winstrol. I don't use any of that bullshit. So I tend to be bloated most of the time unless I have a diet that makes me drop water. So what I'm doing to cut this week, because yeah, I am dropping water now, was I had to really prepare myself for that, make sure that I got myself into a period of where my metabolism was up. I was adapting to the high workload of training, setting PRs, holding a lot of extra water weight while in a very, very small caloric deficit. I'm talking like 100, 200 calorie a day deficit while bloating myself up on a lot of carbs and blasting wet. And now I've cut the carbs back. And what I'm doing, I don't want people to think that you can get away with as a natty. If you're natty, this isn't going to work for you with the way I'm doing things. And that's something I really wish a lot of other channels and people out there would be honest about, because they tell you this is what I'm doing, but they don't tell you that they're on drugs. They don't tell you that it will probably mess you up if you're drug free. I am running over 1,000 calorie deficit a day. I cut down to 3,200 calories. I am running low carbs now. Now I'm doing low carb vegetarian, and no, low carbs do not have a metabolic benefit. I'm doing it purely because of satiation. Because I'm on a hefty amount of protein, I'm on a lot of fiber and a fair amount of fat, and none of it's really saturated fat. I'm eating no animal source fat. All my fat's coming from extra virgin olive oil and almond butter with a little bit of peanut butter every now and then. And I'm eating tons and tons of corn chicken, which is a fake chicken, but it's ultra high in fiber, and it's almost pure protein with very little fat or carbs in it. And I'm eating piles and piles of veggies. So I'm probably eating 50 or 60 grams of carbs a day, but I'm eating at least 100 grams of fiber, maybe 250 grams of protein, and everything else fat. I'm not really tracking it that close other than keeping the carbs, trying to stay under about 60 grams and staying at roughly 3,200 calories. I may even cut that back further. My maintenance is around 4,500. Now, I'm also using other drugs in the mix. So that's something people have to keep in mind. They say, oh, will your metabolism slow a little bit? Yeah, thyroid function can slow a little bit, but mine won't because I'm taking a thyroid hormone. Now, I use very conservative doses of it. I don't think guys should be popping large doses of things like T3. I use a very small amount. But there's no way I'm going to get that little 5% drop in metabolism that happens, particularly when you start cutting carbs back and things. What I also use, because it suppresses my hunger so much that I feel like I'm going to throw up even on 3,000 calories, is I do intermittent fasting. So I only do a 6-hour feed window, and I take metformin at the start of that feed window. For people who are doing low-carb diets, particularly enhanced people, it works very, very well. It's an old bodybuilder trick. And for some reason, there's people who seem to think that I've never been a bodybuilder. They always see things online. People say Jason doesn't know how to cut. He's never been had a six-pack, never been single-digit body fat, and I laugh my ass off because these people are completely unaware of my personal background. I have been 5% body fat before. I fucking hate it, but I've been there. And I do know how to get there. And yeah, that's the type of tricks that I use because I have a voracious appetite. I genetically and naturally have an absurd appetite, but if I go into a very mild ketosis and I pop metformin, my appetite goes away. I don't get hungry anymore. So that's the main thing of what I'm doing there is calories in, calories out. There's nothing magical about low carb. It's all just energy at the end of the day. It doesn't matter whether it's carbs or fat. And because of my training style, I don't deplete a lot of glycogen. I train very low reps, even though it's high volume. I'm not doing very much over 3 to 5 reps. That depletes very little glycogen. And I do all list cardio. I do a minimum of an hour of list cardio a day. And again, if you were doing low carbs, doing like I do and lifting weights for an hour in the morning, then going and do an hour of fasted cardio and then a 6-hour feed window on low carbs, and you weren't on any anabolics to help preserve lean muscle mass, you would probably lose muscle. And you would definitely lose performance. I'm not losing performance. I'm actually setting PRs. I'm like 4 days now into my low carbs, and I've been setting PRs every single day. And again, it's because of the fact that I don't need, because of the training style I'm currently doing, I don't have to have a lot of carbs. I don't necessarily need large energy reserves because I've balanced out the workload with what I'm doing, and I'm using things to help maintain my strength and actually gain strength and possibly gain small amounts of muscle mass while I'm doing this. Is it cheating? No, because I compete in an untested sport. But can the natural guy get away with it? No, and it's not fair if I were to tell you that you guys can do what I'm doing right now to drop body fat and gain performance, to tell you that you could do so without drugs. I would be a flat liar, and I don't want people to get that impression. So I get people who are asking me, what are you doing? I'm noticing you're leaning out, or wow, you dropped a lot of fat. And I didn't drop a lot of fat for that picture. I dropped a lot of water. But now I will continue to get leaner, and I'll drop about 20 more pounds of body fat at least before this is done, because that's what I have to do to be competitive at my sport. I hate being lean. I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy the food restrictions. I don't enjoy cutting, but if I want to be competitive at my sport, I think guys like Pete Rubish and I think guys like Jamie Lewis have it right. You really need to have abs to be a competitive power lifter today unless you're competing in the super heavyweights. There's just no point in carrying the extra fat. And I hate to admit it, but it's the truth. So I'm just kind of breaking down for you guys. That's what I'm doing. That's the changes in my diet. That's the strategy I'm currently using. And while it will work for me and my goals, I don't want you to necessarily think that it's going to work for you. Now, the enhanced guys, if you want to mess around with something like I just explained, have at it. All right, guys, so that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time. But let me give you guys a bicep shot before I go. Oh, those fat, unesthetic powerlifter steps.